What's up guys, we are back for another NECA Toys review, taking a look today at the most recent Godzilla figure in the entire NECA catalog, but it's also the most recent Godzilla from the most recent Godzilla movie. So today we're taking a look at the King of the Monsters version of Godzilla. And I gotta say right off the bat, I have yet to see this movie. I know it's out, I'm very much interested, it just hasn't been able to fit into the schedule yet. So I'm really excited to take a look at this figure and very excited to see this movie. One thing that I'm really happy about is that this figure comes in a box. The previous legendary Godzilla came in one of the NECA clamshells, which I just don't like. I'm really happy that they're going kind of full steam ahead with shoving everything into more ultimate style packaging. So that's what we've got here. So we've got a shot of Godzilla here on the front with our logo, with the Monsterverse logo as well. We've got write-ups on the side, we've got some stats of the figure, and then on the back we've got a shot of Godzilla and then some cross-sell for the other figures in the line, so Rodan and Mothra. And then of course, since this is more ultimate style packaging, you can pop this guy open and you've got a product shot on the inside as well as a shot of Godzilla in the window there. So great collector-friendly stuff all around. But let's do it. Let's pull this guy out and take a look. Alright guys, here he is out of the package, our legendary Godzilla from King of the Monsters. And this is a figure that honestly I wasn't really sure I was going to buy, and then I came across it in Target and I just couldn't resist myself and I had to grab it. I guess I hadn't done a lot of comparison from images online to this figure and the original Godzilla from the 2014 movie, and they are very similar, obviously, but they are also decidedly different in a number of ways, from sculpt to paint to articulation and just how you can move these guys around. So I knew some of the things that were different, but I didn't know that there was enough difference to really warrant a purchase, and I can thankfully say that this is the superior figure for me personally by far. So let's jump right into it, see what this guy can do. Of course, we have to take a look at articulation, see how he moves around. And for the most part, he moves around kind of about what you would expect. You know, Godzilla is a big bulky thing, so he is a little restricted in some ways, but in other ways, he is surprisingly mobile. So you've got a head that can go up and down ever so slightly. It's just kind of the nature of the beast because of how his head is articulated with his big fat neck there. You've got a hinged jaw, and then you can rotate that head. You can rotate his neck. You do have to watch the spines on his back, but you can, of course, rotate around those. He has arms that can go out about that far, and then you can rotate them. You've got rotating and hinged elbows here. You've got hinges and rotation at the wrist, so that's a difference from the old one. The old one had a ball peg there. We've got our Diaphragm Swivel, which is so much easier to use this time around, so he can rock back and forth a little bit, bobble side to side, just a touch, and then full rotation. There's really nothing to impede him there. Legs go out a little bit, and I don't know that that's really an issue. It's Godzilla. He's not really doing any flying kicks or anything like that, at least not in this movie, I don't think. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm not sure, but I doubt it. And then they can rotate around. You've got rotating and hinging knees, and they move pretty well. There's a lot of range of motion in there, honestly. And then you've got ball pegs down at the ankles, so he can move them in and out, and then rock them side to side, and then you can rotate them around. These move a lot better than the previous figure as well. And then, of course, you've got the tail. So this is another key difference because the previous one had a bendy wire tail, at least for the majority of it. This time, this guy is fully segmented, so you've got full segmentation really to the very tip here, so kind of like we saw with Godzilla 1962 King Goji. So you've got a full segmented tail, and I prefer this. I think you know, the bendy wire is cool and it can be useful. It has its ups and its downs. This thing just looks a little cleaner to me. So you've got rotation all over the place, and then of course you can flex it in and out and side to side. So there is a pretty wide range of motion when it comes to that tail. So he is a big, bulky figure, but he does move around surprisingly well. Now, as far as the overall look and feel, like I've said, this is a big, bulky figure. He has not only a tremendous amount of weight and heft to him, but he is just big. Of course, he's still kind of a 6-7 inch figure from foot to head, but from head to tail, he's a foot long, at least. And he does take up a lot of real estate, even being in this scale of a figure, which I think is fantastic. That's one of the key selling points with the NECA Godzillas for me, is that even though they are still this type of scale, they very much have that impactful look and feel when it comes to how big and how much plastic is really in play here. Now, we will do comparison between this figure and the 2014 figure from that movie, because there is a lot to show as far as differences, but I think that this looks pretty good. Again, I haven't seen this movie yet. It's on my list. It just hasn't happened yet. But I think the overall design here is fantastic. The spikes on the back look phenomenal. They are great. They run all the way down the tail. The scales all over the body look great. There is a nice amount of dry brushing and wash in this figure to bring out his kind of gray-green granite almost kind of color. As compared to the previous figure, you'll see it's a night and day difference, really. And then, of course, you've got redesigns in terms of some of the torso pieces, the redesigned scales. You've got redesigned feet. I'm sure there's more stuff that I'm just not noticing right off the bat. My only real gripe with this figure is that I don't think the mouth looks all that good. I think it looks a little odd, like he's almost missing some teeth in some ways, and there's a good chance, if I haven't just caught it or not yet, that the head could be reused. It certainly looks like it is, but I need to do a little more fine-tune looking, I suppose. But this figure does look really great. I'm really, really satisfied with him, and I don't have any real issues with the way he looks. I love everything about the sculpt on this guy. I love the design of this Godzilla. It's not by any means my favorite, but I really, really dig this Godzilla. I was a big fan of the first movie, even though it certainly got its issues, and I'm very much looking forward to this new one. I really dig this design, and I think NECA's done a good job of translating it into figure form. It's, again, one of those things where it's a lot of plastic, it's a lot of figure for a relatively small price point, and it really does look like this particular movie's Godzilla jumped right out of the screen. And like I mentioned, here they are side by side. So here is our original one, and here is our new one. And you can see just right off the bat that there is a distinct color difference here. This guy is incredibly lighter by comparison. The more I think about it, the more it seems like this is Godzilla how he looked like in that movie, because it's just so damn dark you can't really tell what he looks like. And then maybe this is more of what he really does look like. Of course, there are some key differences here. So again, the tail is different. The tail design is entirely different, not just from a structural standpoint as far as the toy goes, but from the looks. The color is different. The spikes are different. They are entirely redesigned. And that's obviously a movie thing. The feet are different. The hands appear to be slightly different, and they certainly are from a joint perspective. And then just the scale patterns all over the body are different in some ways, from the torso to the arms, things like that. So it's a very different look. I mean, it's obviously the same Godzilla, but when I look at him side by side, this is my clear winner right now. I think the paint applications on this guy far exceed this one. The colors look a lot more lifelike. This guy looks way too dark in comparison, and I was pretty happy with him at the time. But this guy, I mean, is a clear winner for me. I'm really, really happy with all of the changes that were made to bring this particular movie's Godzilla into plastic. So overall, this is a pretty fun figure. There's really not a lot for me to gripe about here. There are obviously other options when it comes to Godzillas. You could always go, the SH Monster Arts route, and those are fantastic figures, but I think for my money personally, I would rather stick with a cheaper price point and stay with NECA. I love Godzilla, but not enough to go crazy with Monster Arts, so I'm really happy for my money with what I'm getting out of this line. I've been a big fan of the NECA Godzillas since I kind of went down that black hole, and this new redesigned Godzilla from Legendary is really nice. I'm pretty happy with him. He's a surprisingly good figure in comparison to what I expected to be a figure that I didn't really need to buy. And now, of course, I'm very much looking forward to getting a hold of Mothra and Rodan. So that's going to do it for this look at the NECA Toys King of the Monsters Godzilla. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time.